So ACEs, Adverse Childhood Experiences. There's tons of information on this. So this is a very cursory PowerPoint, and I have some videos embedded in this. So the definition and the impact. Adverse childhood experiences are potentially traumatic events that can have negative, lasting effects on health and well-being. There's also a test you can take to see what your ACEs score. The higher your ACEs score, the more adverse childhood experiences that you have been a victim of or done. So if you're interested in that, Google that, and you can kind of get the test. But if you can see, these are the different categories: abuse, loss, and chronic stress. So these all contribute to what your particular ACEs score is. Okay, so again, if you're interested, please Google that. So the definition and the impact. So here's some of the statistics on national statistics. So just take a minute to read this and read the chart. So they recorded it by race and ethnicity, okay? So you can see that Black and non-Hispanic have the highest percentage of ACEs. And due to many, many reasons, which we will get into in a few slides. So 60% of U.S. children have been exposed to violence, crime, or abuse. In my opinion, that is very high. It's, over half of the children in the United States. So you can take a minute to look at this YouTube video. ACEs definition and impact. 1 in 15 U.S. children are exposed to domestic violence a year. And so what are ACEs effects? Okay. So it changes a child's brain. So on the left, you can see the normal brain. On the right, you can see the child who has experienced chronic abuse. Okay, so repeated chronic activation of stress hormones bypass thinking part of the brain and activate survival part of the brain, aka fight, flight, or freeze. It's the fight, flight, or freeze neural pathways can become efficient and predominant, and it interrupts normal development and impairs complex thought and learning. So it is imperative that younger children receive some help and assistance and counseling so that these changes do not become permanent. And it changes a child's behavior. They can become aggressive, irritable, whiny, clingy, moody. They tend to have more headaches, stomach aches, and they overreact to minor bumps and bruises because they have been abused or other instances, and so they become hypervigilant. They have difficulty identifying or labeling feelings, communicating needs, controlling impulses. They have issues with focus. They're easily startled. They overreact to sounds, touch, and sirens, and they distrust others and authority because others have failed, particularly adults, to keep them safe. They have disassociation, checking out, and often underreaction, so which means they can become passive. Right? So if you were dealing with a child who had a high ACE scores or an adult, these would be some of the issues that you would have to address with them. So long-term problems, they tend to be absent a lot. They have attention problems. Sometimes they get expelled. So they deal with this and not so healthy coping mechanisms. For example, smoking, substance abuse, teen pregnancy. Many of them can't concentrate in school, so they drop out of high school. They do not know how to navigate relationships because their caregivers, parents, guardians have not taught them that. And there's a lot of acting out. So unfortunately, they're in the criminal justice system. And then there's a whole lot of health and mental health issues: anxiety, depression, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, cancer, stroke, asthma, lupus, which is an autoimmune disease, multiple sclerosis, osteoporosis, viral infections, and other autoimmune diseases. So, child abuse and neglect are part of ACEs effects too. And then, children have no sense of feeling safe in their own skin or environment because other people have not provided that. They do not know how to have healthy attachments to others. So if you were working as an adult, you would have to help them figure it out. They don't know how to self-regulate. So in other words, if they get angry, they immediately think, oh, I'm just going to punch someone. I'm just going to hit someone. They don't know how to step back and say, okay, is there another way to deal with that? So it's related to A, that they do not know how to act in many situations. So why should healthcare leaders care? Because trauma in kids is linked to adult health and many social problems in many studies. So you can see by this chart all of the different issues that children and adults will have. So why police leaders should care? Because traumatized children often engage in riskier behaviors than their peers. Okay, again, they have so much trauma in life that they do not know how to cope. So they cope in unhealthy, riskier ways. And so this is last personal reflections on ACEs and YouTube. So please tune in and listen to this. This is part 1. So I will be recording part 2. All right. See you in the next part.